surprised absolutely no one in earning the pole position for the season-opening ASA Buckeye 300. Navigating new pavement, the Wins Ford and 35 other drivers shattered Johnny Benson's 3-year-old standard. The rest of the top 10, however, was filled with surprises. Jeff Neal steered his Pie Royal split-fire Chevy to second fastest, as only he and St. Amant have locked in starting positions. The remainder of the field will be determined in twin 50-lap qualifying races. In a new ride, Steve Holzhausen carried his left front wheel dirt track style for third best, while Tony Roper was fourth. Rookies Ted Smokestad and Jay Summers were shocking at fifth and sixth quick, respectively. But championship favorites Bob Seneker, Mike Eddy, Scott Hansen, and Glenn Allen disappointed at 9th, 10th, 12th, and 16th. 44 qualifiers will vie for only 32 starting berths, assuring excitement and lots of bumping and rubbing in the 50-lap qualifiers. Well, I know with that pole sitter, one of only 2 drivers so far locked into the starting grid, Gary St. Amant. Gary, it's kind of chilly, but these hometown fans are going to give you a very warm reception at the drop of the green flag. Going to win it for them today, aren't you?
We're going to try, Rob. You know, it's good to be starting the AC Delco Challenge Series out here at our hometown, Columbus, Ohio. And, you know, I got a lot of laps around this racetrack, and I think we're going to have a real good race here. Not only a real good race, but the Wins Ford Thunderbird, I think we're going to have a real good season.
Certainly a championship contender, and today, Rick, this is the man to beat.
Now we'll see how Gary St. Amant and the rest of the field does. Thank you, Rob. In Columbus, the 300 kicks off the ASA season. 2 o'clock Eastern live here on TNN. All the results and post-race comments for you and highlights, too, tonight at 7:30 on the PM edition of Race Day. Hope you can be with us then. For some preliminary qualifying events, let's go back to TNN's Rob Albright, who is standing by live in Columbus. Rob, how do things look now?
When we rejoin you live at 2 o'clock, we will have already had 100 laps of racing and 2 fender-banging, wheel-wanging 50-lap qualifiers, and 12 drivers, Rick, will be loaded up, ready to go home. Rick?
All right. Thanks, Rob. We'll see you a little later this afternoon. Look forward to all the highlights here tonight on Race Day at 7:30.
Network.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
goes to the Buckeye 300, presented by Nationwide, as the American Speed Association kicks off its 1995 racing season. Hello again, everybody, and welcome as we kick off what we expect is going to be even better than last year. I'm Brian Drebber, and I'll be working with Rob Albright as always this year, and we're looking forward, as we have for probably 6 months now, to the very first racing of the very first race of this season. We'll be talking a little bit about the championship and the contenders, the guys who are going to be racing for the crown a little bit later on in the show. And joining me, as I said, is Rob Albright, with whom it's always a pleasure to work. Rob?
You too, Brian. And we may have a little trouble for the next couple of minutes getting our mouths to work. It is cold here in Columbus, Ohio. It's been boring status quo for a number of drivers, but some really exciting changes for others. Get a piece of paper and a pencil, and we're going to chart some changes in just a couple of minutes. Well, talking about the diaper dandies of 1995 is our cohort Ricochet, Ralph Shaheen.
Ron, thanks a lot. You know, 14 drivers have made their way here to the Buckeye 300 presented by Nationwide for one particular reason. They wanted one of these. It's called a rookie stripe. We have 14 rookies going for the Pat Schauer Memorial Rookie of the Year Award, and we'll take a look at this year's rookie class a little later on.
We'll be back with a lot more as we get ready to start this very first race of an exciting new season. Stay with us.
A safari rarely lasts longer than a few weeks, unless it's a safari maintained with genuine AC oil filters, because over hill, dale and wadi, no other filter can track down, trap and capture more dirt. So AC oil filters keep your engine in the hunt for a longer life.
AC Delco. It's like buying time.
Special rebates on AC plugs, oil and air filters every day at Nationwide.
What vitamins do for your body, VitaWins does for your car.
Some people can't afford to worry about the fuel in their tank. And when it comes to consistency and quality, their demands are among the toughest in the world. That's why most major domestic and international airlines depend on Citgo. And with more than 13,000 locations across America, you can depend on Citgo too. Citgo, the sign of quality.
There was no mistake about it. I was definitely in cruiser heaven. Even my wife looked somehow different. And there I was prowling the streets on the new Kawasaki Vulcan 800. V-twin rumbling, chrome gleaming in the sun. Is this for real? Or am I just dreaming?
The Vulcan 800 from Kawasaki. It's as real as it gets.
The 1995 AC Delco Challenge Series on TNN is brought to you in part by Win Oil Company, makers of quality automotive car care products. Remember, when it's wins, it works. By your GM Goodwrench service dealer, we want your business. By Nationwide's Auto Parts, the best brands in these parts. And by Schlage Locks, the Doberman of locks. Welcome back, everybody, as we get set to start this very first race of America's premier short track racing series, the American Speed Association and the AC Delco Challenge Series. I'm Brian Drebber, Rob Albright here. You'll be seeing a lot of Ralph Shaheen throughout this broadcast. And Rob, you already mentioned before about how things stayed the same for a lot of drivers and a lot of teams over the course of the winter, but, well, things have changed. We see a lot of new cars, a lot of new drivers filling up the seats. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, for the old dogs like Mike Eddy and Bob Seneker, the same as last year. They run their own operations and very few things have changed. But for several other drivers, they find themselves with, in some cases, new paint jobs. In other cases, with brand new teams. Look at this car. It was black and orange last year. Todd Forbes now with a new paint job, new sponsorship from the Maisto Die-Cast Toy Company. And he's looking to make a good impression for this sponsor. Scott Hansen, the well-traveled one, started with the Gunderman team last year, ran his own team the second half of the season, now back with Gunderman, and he's a real championship contender. Won the opening All-Pro race this year. There's Steve Holzhausen. Only the number remains the same. He goes from Pontiac and then Chevy, now to Ford. And this is the team that Scott Hansen had as his own last year. Jay Sauter, his future is really uncertain. This Steve Mergic car of last year, just a couple of times, and Jay is hoping that with some good performances the first 2 or 3 races, he can make it stick. Glenn Allen, a new sponsor, Eaglewood Construction. That car is hot pink, fuchsia if you prefer, with a blue number. He says it better be fast with all that pink on it. Tony Raines, vacated by Steve Holtzhausen. That's the Baker Motorsports car. 2 races. Doesn't look a whole lot different, just the numbers changed. It's 98, it was 90. But he's built a brand new race car that we hope to see at Toledo, a track on which he has won several championships. Jeff Neal, probably the prettiest new paint job and new sponsorship from Pyroyal Oil. It's a division of Valvoline. They've gotten into our series big time, and Jeff had a great qualifying run.
So those are some of the new look race cars. We also have a field full of rookie drivers. Now, the rookie battle last year, of course, Rob, was one that I think that'll go down in history as the best ever. But this year, we have got a lot of people.
It was really fun meeting today because it wasn't Dave Sensiba sitting there on the edges of their chairs hanging on the words of Rex and Brian Robbins. It was 14 other faces, and I don't know, you could see enthusiasm, but you could see fear to a certain degree. I mean, these guys know this is the best short track racing in the country, and with an unusual qualifying format here, it was a tough chore for them to just make the race. A lot of the drivers didn't even make it. $50,000. Ralph, the lead.
Well, you know, Ron, like you said, $50,000 up for grab. That's a lot of money. 2 of them have joined me down here. I on one side of me here, the Steve American. What do you got?
Not the extra. There is nice icing on the cake. Too bad when there's
in the early races here today that the enthusiasm of the rookie class is pretty aggressive. You think that is going to be the style?
Well, I think a lot of that aggressiveness just comes from being the first race of the year. It's going to be a great rookie battle all year long. I mean, with Eddie and Brett and everybody else, it's just going to be a great rookie battle, and I'm looking forward to it with Super America on board with us, where I think we'll have the financing to do what it takes to. The rest. Come on.
Do you think that the battle we saw last year, as tight as it was with 14 drivers this year, do you think that tight of a battle, or will it spread out?
Can you imagine getting halfway to there's going to be 3 or 4 teams there, at least through the halfway points, that it could go as many as 3 or 4 ways.
Well, you know, as we get this thing started, guys are walking up all over the place. So I'm going to stick back here and grab Rick Beebe. We saw walk up here. Another one of the guys is going for Rookie of the Year. What do you think? 14 drivers, $50,000. We saw a real tight battle last year. Are you up to the task?
Well, I hope so. We started off bad here. We just had a decent run in our qualifying race, and of a tire and fell out, and we're not going to be in the race.
Well, that's it, gentlemen. 14 drivers, $50,000. They come from all over. We've got former boat racers. We've got former road racers. We've got everything. And they've all come to the best short track series in the country to try their wares, see if they can lay claim to the Pat Schauer Rookie of the Year award and that $50,000 paycheck.
Well, we have seen who some of the new look drivers are. We have talked about the new drivers. In a little while, we'll look at the championship battle, and we'll be right back to the Buckeye 300 presented by Nationwide right after this.
When you're looking for a powerful tractor, you can't get one more powerful than this. It's got an engine bigger than your house.
It's also got something in common with every new Cub Cadet tractor.
A steel drive shaft, not a belt, like other tractors. Every Cub Cadet, every horsepower level. Of course, no Cub Cadet has this much horsepower. We make your yard look a lot nicer. If you want shaft drive, just look for Cub Cadet.
It's a funny old business. I've had years when I thought I should have won and didn't. And I had a year when I didn't think I would win and I did. So you got to be prepared with the best car, the best people, and Goodyear Eagles. The only tire to have if you want to win the championship.
Goodyear, #1 in racing, #1 in tires.
Goodyear Eagles, I can give you a million reasons why. They're the best tires in the world.
Western Auto now has more parts than ever, plus more top brands than any other parts store. Some you'll find only at Western Auto, yet our name brand prices compare to their no names. Check our serious savings on quality Monroe shocks. Monroe, America's best-selling shocks and struts for cars and light trucks. Hey, for name brands at no-name prices, get serious. Get Western Auto.
Western Auto's no stranger to these parts.
Hello again, everybody. As we get set to start this Buckeye 300 presented by Nationwide, we have a lot of things to talk about. And before the race gets started, one thing we should tell you is that the feature event is going to be 200 laps. We had a pair of 50-lap qualifiers, so altogether that makes up the Buckeye 300. Now, we have talked about last season and about the championship run by Butch Miller, who is not with us here for this very first race. But when we do talk about championship contenders, there are a whole handful of guys out there who we think can run for this $3.3 million at stake in the American Speed Association AC Delco Challenge Series. Just who are the ones who will be the front runners for the big payday at the end of the season? Well, we've made a few predictions. Any conversation about championship contenders starts and ends with Mike Eddy in the number 88 Goodwrench Pontiac, whose 7 championships have been the result of things done in a tried, true, and proven manner.
I'm kind of set in my ways. I do everything the same all the time, and it seems to work out, so I've really found no reason to change.
Mike Eddy's 7 titles rank #1, but #1 in race victories is the Bluebird, number 84 Bob Seneker, who drove into victory lane late last year after a long drought.
And the folks that just mean for it, I did when I was 30 or 40. I'm probably nearing the end here, and it'd be nice to pick one off before I put on it. And, this might be the year.
Throw away the first half dozen races. Last driver ever to win an ASA race. Glenn Allen Jr. capped off a late season charge.
We've been so close. I want to win the championship, and if I can beat the guys with Bob Seneker, Mike Eddy, the big key for us in 1995 is late. See why not? We can't do it.
Scott Hansen started the season in a Chevy, switched to his own team driving a Ford, and returns to the Gunderman team for a title run. A runner-up, third 4 times in a row, he settled in for a shot at #1.
I think right now the way Scott Hansen has formed this team back together and sat everybody down and said, we're here for the championship. We're not here to worry about the little things in life anymore. I think we're going to be a definite contender.
Gary St. Amant put the number 7 wins Thunderbird in the top 10 times last year and did just about everything right except win a race. Always focused. This year his motto is focus with a laser beam.
Back in 1990, I pasted little pieces of paper up on my wall. You know, what am I looking forward to most right now? And the one thing I put up on the wall was winning my first ASA race, Columbus Motor Speedway, and we did that. We accomplished that. Later on, went on to win the TNN All-American 400. And this year, I have a couple of pieces of paper pasted on my wall, and it doesn't say anything about first ASA win or anything like that. It's about championship.
1994 was a year of extreme frustration for Tony Raines. One of the most talented young drivers ever to occupy the spot behind the wheel. Problems with equipment plagued him. But with his new team, those worries should be over.
Last year was tough. Yeah, it was tough on everybody involved, you know, and we survived, I guess. And this year, I'm really, you know, excited. I'm concerned maybe about the pressure because I think everybody expects me to do good right off the start. But I think it's going to take a little bit to get, you know, adjusted. But I think once we get going, you know, I think we're going to be really good.
Young Brad Loney had his share of misfortune in the Winnebago number 33 last year, but brought his fledgling racing team around and ended up 7th on the year. He is certainly a star on the rise, maybe just a little short on experience.
I'd like to think not. That's definitely our goal for this season. Winning a championship for this team would be something they all deserve, and certainly our sponsors are worthy of that.
Mike Miller, owner, builder, and driver of the number 18 Pontiac, waged a battle with eventual champion Butch Miller for the first half of the season, but got off track and ended up 14th. The wheels may have come off the wagon, but this veteran's enthusiasm is still full on.
Well, we had 3 or 4 failures that were chassis related, and I take full responsibility for that. And then we had some motor trouble, and over the course of the winter now, we've basically addressed the motor problem and addressed the chassis problem. So I'm really pumped up for 95. We should really do good this year.
Well, I made no secret of the fact that my neighbor, Mike Miller, was my personal favorite last year, and he remains so again this year. But, Rob, I'm going to go out on a very short limb and predict that my favorite for an 8th championship is going to be the driver of the black number 88 car, and I want him to win his championship before that other black Goodwrench car driver does.
They call him Mr. Obvious, Mike Eddy. Come on, you can be a little more imaginative than that.
Not today.
The way I look at it, there's a kid that anybody that'll wear a uniform that's hot pink in color has to be my choice. It's hard to imagine that it was 7 years ago when 23-year-old Glenn Allen Jr. came to ASA and had to get help about 2 races into the season from Butch Miller just to keep the car pointed in the right direction. He ended the season strong with a win at Jennerstown. I think he's going to be the titleist in 95.
Well, we're going to have to go down to the 3rd member of our broadcast team, perhaps for the definitive word on who the championship contender is going to be. Ralph, who's your favorite?
It's hard to bet against Mike Eddy. He is definitely going to get his 8th ASA championship. Question is when, and whoever beats him, they're certainly going to have to go through him to lay claim to that title if they want it. One guy who's already making a lot of noise in that direction is Gary St. Amant. Congratulations on the first pole of 1995. Last year, the word for you was focus. What's it this year? Where's your mental game at now?
Well, the word focus is still in our vocabulary, Ralph, but, the big picture is the championship this year. The Winsport City Ford Thunderbird, we're on the pole up here. This race is really important, but with Hooters coming on board and pumping in for the championship is the big picture, and that's what we're after.
Let's talk a little bit about today's race. You've chosen the outside line here, and we've seen a second groove kick in the earlier races here this morning. Do you think that's where you're going to have to go to be able to win here today at Columbus?
Well, the bottom of the racetrack's definitely fast. That's the place to be. I really didn't have a choice on inside or outside. I got to choose if we was in the first or second race, and we chose the first one to give us a little more time. That gave us a chance to get the car more dialed in for the race, and it's going to be tough to pass on the outside, I think, and definitely the guy that can pass on the outside, he's definitely ahead of the game.
Traffic is certainly going to be a concern here as well. How do you pick your way through the traffic here? How do you try to set the guys up at Columbus?
Very carefully. You basically see where they're running, and if you see them getting up off the bottom, getting off the corner, you might duck underneath them going down the straightaway, and probably for the most part though, they'll be hugging the bottom, and you got to go to the outside.
We saw a lot of cars are real loose too. Is that the Keys setup?
Well, the loose race cars, I think they're going to be faster in the beginning, but in the end, the loose race cars, they'll probably end up going backwards pretty fast.
I used to be the youngest member of the ASA broadcasting crew, but now there's another one. His name is Josh Duvall, and he's a feature reporter in our young races, and here's his predictions.
Thanks, Ralph. There's 14 rookies this year, so I'm not going to commit to any one, but you got to look at Eddie Sharp, who's got the backing of former champion and Rookie of the Year here in ASA, Johnny Benson Jr., and then you got people like Brett Bell, who have experience of racing in ASA before. He had a 3rd in MIS last year. So on to you, Brian.
All right, Josh, thanks. We'll certainly be watching that rookie battle. Last year's rookie contenders, well, they're going to have to get their TV time the old-fashioned way. They're going to have to earn it, and they'll do just that when we come back to the Buckeye 300.
Now at Pep Boys, get any 4 of our 35,000-mile all-season steel-belted tires at an incredible low $99.96. That's right, any size, any set of 4, just $99.96 at Pep Boys now.
It's just too early to make decisions. But I have to decide on breakfast, so I go to Burger King and get a flaky croissant sandwich, hash browns and coffee for just $1.99. But then, do I get it to stay or to go?
Breakfast at Burger King.
Red means go to your Honda dealer.
Take a demo ride. Get 9.9 APR and 0 down financing. Trade in that old helmet of yours. Pick up a free t-shirt with $5 purchase and see what's hot for $95. So get going, because after April 30th, red means stop.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Buckeye 300 here at Columbus Motor Speedway, presented by Nationwide. We're a few minutes away from the start of this very first race of the 1995 ASA season. Well, it isn't really the very first race because we had a couple of 50-lap qualifiers to set the field for this one. And, Rob, if those gave us any indication of what we're about to see here, we're going to see some terrific racing on this brand-new paved racetrack.
We knew what to expect in these qualifying races. 12 drivers loaded and went home after those qualifiers. 44 cars showed up, took timed runs yesterday, and all that really did, other than the front row, was set the fields for the 50-lap qualifying races. Rick Beebe made a brilliant run from deep in the pack in his qualifying races, and as he said, cut a tire down late in the going, which means he's a spectator for the 200-lap portion. You really cannot afford to sit out, Brian, a single race if you're a rookie or a veteran gunning for either the rookie title or the championship.
Well, we saw in the rookie battle, at least, that it came down to just every single race, a neck-and-neck battle all the way along, and for the championship, it was no difference. Now, here are some of the highlights from the qualifying races. This was the very first race, and up front, some familiar faces, but also some new ones contending for the lead spot here.
You could see Gary St. Amant deep in the pack. They inverted the start. And that's Steve Holzhausen spinning. Car just got a little bit loose. Didn't appear that there was any contact. Tom Jones's machines was damaged. So was, we thought, Bill Baird's car. That's it on the left side of your screen, that bright red and black one. Tom Jones was severely damaged, but it was body work only. It was cosmetic.
And here's Bob Seneker going around the outside of Mike Miller, who was cutting down a tire just about at this very time here. Miller had worked his way from fourth to third and up to the lead, but it was Bob Seneker taking the checkers after Mike Miller dropped out, and this guy ran away with it.
Second race started with Bordeaux, Pat Bordeaux on the pole. Glenn Allen parlayed his third-place start to a lead here in his car number 15, but it didn't last long, as about 15 laps in, after a caution, Mike Eddy caught him, worked on him for no more than half a lap, and took away the top spot, which he would never relinquish.
Well, we thought that little Glenn was running good until we found out, because Mike Eddy, who we always know runs good, took the checkered flag, so he will start way up front in the starting grid on this one. So Mike Eddy, a familiar face up front, some good racing action, a little bit of crash action out there, and some damaged cars. The crews are going to have to go to work quick on those to get them ready for this race, but they've already done that. Let's go down to Ralph once again in the infield.
Well, you know, it's getting real hectic and real busy down here. All the drivers are doing driver introductions and so forth. We caught up with one guy, Tony Roper. Now, Tony, your car qualified fourth, and you're going to start eighth here on the 8th row today.
8th row. We had a little trouble in the qualifying race, but we just got stacked up in a little accident. It wasn't no big deal. Car's working good. We're ready to go.
One other guy who had lots of problems in that qualifying race, Tom Jones, you got the Felpro car banged up.
Yeah, it got a little bit banged up. I got nestled in between a bunch of cars, some stopping and some didn't, and I was in the middle, so I tore the front end off the car, and we had to go off and do some repairs. So the Felpro pace checks, Quartermasters, Pontiac with Valvoline we're going to try again. We were pretty fast in the race. I'd moved up, I started back a ways, and I was up to about 5th place, and then all that stuff started happening, and I got in the middle of it, so I feel pretty good about the race.
Well, let's step back here behind you and grab this guy while we got a chance here, too. Dave Sensiba, you had a great rookie season last year, and now you're a veteran on the AC Delco Challenge Series. Does that change your attitude? And you got a beard going, too.
Yeah, it changed our attitude. It's, a lot more easy going around all the guys, and you come out here to race now. You ain't got to worry about finishing. We come out here, race as hard as we can, and hope we're there at the end.
Is that a rookie beard, or is that a veteran beard?
No, that's a veteran beard, I guess.
Dave Sensiba.
We'll be right back after this commercial break with the moment that you've all been waiting for. The command for gentlemen, start your engines. And the Buckeye 300 presented by Nationwide will be underway.
Red means go to your Honda dealer for red hot days. Got it? Take a demo ride. Get 9.9 APR and 0 down financing. Trade in that old helmet of yours. Pick up a free t-shirt with $5 purchase and see what's hot for $95. So get going, because after April 30th, red means stop.
I
I'm Rick Benjamin. On the PM edition of TNN Race Day, we'll have highlights from the Winston Cup battle on the short track at Martinsville, the Indy cars on the mile at Nazareth, the trucks, ASA, and the NHRA, all Sunday night on Race Day.
All you need to know about motorsports. Race Day. Tonight, 7:30 p.m., 6:30 Central, only on TNN Motorsports. Inside Winston Cup Racing, today on TNN Motorsports. Due to TNN Motorsports live race coverage, Win will be presented at a different time. 4 p.m., 3 Central, today on TNN Motorsports.
Unbelievable, spectacular, breathtaking, crash impact. 60 minutes of blazing crash action in this special edition 2-volume set. See outrageous motocross and road racing action, sprint cars and outlaws, Grand Prix, stock cars, monster trucks, powerboats, and more. Only $19.95. This exclusive 2-tape set is jam-packed with magnificent racing and crash action footage featuring top drivers from around the world. Order now and get absolutely free. Havoc 1, over 45 minutes of rare footage, including some of the most thrilling and horrifying moments that made early racing history. You'll get this incredible 2-tape offer, plus your Havoc video free. 3 tapes that'll blow you away. Guaranteed or your money back.
To order, call toll-free 1-800-544-6664. That's 1-800-544-6664. Or send check or money order for $19.95 plus $3.95 for shipping and handling.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Columbus, Ohio for the Buckeye 300. We will be getting this race started here just very, very shortly. We did have some delays involved with getting those qualifiers finished and getting the starting grid set, but as you can see, the drivers are getting ready to get this one underway. The last of the introductions are being done, and we will have the command to start engines here shortly. There's Joey Knott, the driver of the number 48 car, and some of the folks that are getting ready to go. And down in the infield, Ralph Shaheen has cornered the driver of the number 53 Wisconsin Aviation machine.
You know, Scott Hansen is one driver who always gets his season off, started early, and he gets some race victories under his belt. And you did that again this year with some big wins already. How much momentum does that help you carry into the beginning of the ASA season?
Well, it means a lot, you know, just getting back started with the team again and getting all our differences worked out. It's a good deal, you know, go down there, and them guys from All Pro are really a tough bunch of guys to run with. And that was definitely a boost. And we had another one of them going here a week ago, but it just didn't turn out quite as good. But it's a good deal. You know, I just wish we were running a little bit better here, but I think we'll definitely be exciting to watch anyway.
In the beginning of the show, we were all talking about how if you want to win this championship, you got to go through Mike Eddy. He's got 7. He looks like he'll get 8 eventually. How do you get through Mike Eddy for a championship? Have you learned a lot about that over the last couple of years?
Well, I think consistency is going to be the key to this. Mike's run real good. He wins a lot of races, but he's also broke a lot of things over the last few years, whether it just be bad luck on his part or equipment getting down a little bit. I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's not that, but with the equipment. But, you know, you get your turn in the bucket with your luck, and you need as much luck as you need skill in auto racing.
Well, luck for Scott Hansen's been working pretty good. He's already got a couple of wins in 1995.
Thanks, Ralph. As we look down on the starting grid here, America's premier short track racing series is just about to kick off the 1995 season, as we've said a couple of times, Rob Albright. And, well, I'll tell you what, we've been waiting a long time, and it sure is good, even though it's cold out here, to be ready to start this first race of the season.
You just took a peek at local hero Gary St. Amant, who's run more laps here than anybody, won more races here than anybody. But this is really all new for Gary as well. All new pavement. 35 of the 44 qualifiers yesterday broke the old track record that was set 3 years ago by Johnny Benson. My concern with the times about 3/4 of a second faster, that's a phenomenal amount of time over a 1/3 mile oval, is it would become a one-groove racetrack. But Mike Miller and Bob Seneca proved in the first qualifying race, as well as Mike Eddy in the second one, that you can make it work on the high side.
Well, we've also heard a couple of the drivers talking about the fact that the leaders are going to be stuck down on the inside, but if you're going to pass, you've got to be able to drive around the outside. So the second groove is going to have to be a matter of necessity if drivers are going to be wanting to pass. So they've set these cars up to run down on the inside. There's Jeff Neal, the driver of the number 75 car, and you've already said one of the best-looking new cars. Well, he's down there with Ralph.
You know, Brian, in 1994, Trackside Motorsports made one of the biggest pickups they could do, and they got Jeff Neal, and everybody said, boy, that could be a really strong combination. And we're seeing that paying off already in the beginning of 95. You're on the front row. What is it about this team and you that meshes so well?
Well, I tell you what, Dick Hoffman at Trackside Motorsports, they provide me some first-class equipment. We've got some first-class sponsors. Pyro Performance Products, Splitfire has been with me for years, and you know, you got to have confidence in that with everybody, and they've got confidence in me, and I've got confidence in them, and it shows.
Well, you know what? We can't go racing without you in the car. They're ready for you, so why don't you go get in the car, and we'll get set to go racing. Good luck to you today.
Thanks. Good, because I'm getting cold.
Something else that gives him a lot of additional confidence, Brian, his dad, Ron Neal, has formed a corporation down in North Carolina with Harold Elliott, who formerly built racing engines for Alan Kulwicki, Dick Trickle, Mark Martin, and in fact built the power plants that Rusty Wallace drove to a Winston Cup championship in 1989. They will build ASA motors exclusively for Jeff.
Well, that'll be another item in his arsenal there for Jeff Neal. Starting on the pole in this very first race, we saw a couple of the young fans getting ready to take a look at the American Speed Association very first race of the season. There's some battle scars already on the number 81 car of Harold Fair, and a lot of racing action getting ready to go. Those young fans, of course, a part of the American dream. The great American dream is alive and well in ASA racing, we're fond of saying, and that's because this is racing that is accessible and affordable both for drivers, team owners, fans, and everyone, and we welcome you to another great season. There's the brand new Maisto sponsored number 07 car of Todd Forbes, and looking down inside the helmet there of the number 84 driver, that would have to be the Johnsonville Sausage number 84, the Bluebird, Bob Seneker.
You know, as we get ready to go in this 1995 racing season, it isn't just so much, Brian, that I was impressed by the number of rookies who've entered the $50,000 Pat Shower Chase. It's the places from which they've come. Brett Bell has seemed to open the floodgates of drivers from out west. We've had 2 or 3 drivers register for the rookie program from California, another one who's on the roster from Oklahoma. He didn't make the race. Another one from Texas did not make the race. Rick Beebe, who's from Kansas, qualified a car for Bobby Dotter at our I-70 race last year on the pole and led it early. He now takes over as the primary team driver for John Freeman, who moves out of the driving seat into the car owner's position. They've got excellent equipment. It's just, you know, it's going to be tight all season long.
Well, I like a lot of the changes because many of them have been for the better. We have to say that there are a lot of win-win situations in the way some of the changes have taken place. We've seen, of course, some great-looking new race cars. And there are a lot of drivers who occupy new positions behind the wheel with high hopes for this 1995 season. There's a look at the number 26 machine of road racing, somewhat road racing specialist Bill Baird, who did a great job in the qualifier here this morning. And he looks like he's ready to go as well. As I know all of you are, we continue to await the signal for the start of this Buckeye 300 presented by Nationwide, right along with all of you at home. We have a well-bundled up crowd. The stands are full here at Columbus Motor Speedway. A lot of people have come out to see this first race of the 1995 season for the American Speed Association. And there you can tell they are bundled up. As I almost left home yesterday wearing Bermuda shorts. I definitely had short sleeves on. Guess who didn't watch the Weather Channel before they left Atlanta?
It didn't do you any good. I'll tell you, I flew out of Fort Myers. It was 90 degrees. I watched the Weather Channel. It was supposed to be 70 and sunny today.
Well, we understand that the command is about to be given. This time it's for real, folks. So let's go down to Ralph Shaheen in the infield, who will get them started.
Well, as you said, Brian, we're ready to go, and Henry Quatman has come out from the good folks at AC Delco to help get us started. Henry, how about if you kick this thing off here today?
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The engines have fired up, and shortly the cars will be rolling off. The next thing we will see will be the waving of the green flag from Roger Slack, and this one will be underway. Join us when you come back.
Why do I think the Whopper beat both the Big Mac and Wendy's single in taste tests? You kidding? The Whopper from Burger King's flame broiled. The others are fried. Let me elaborate. The Whopper tastes like it's hot off the barbecue, and that makes people happy. Come on, just talking about a flame-broiled Whopper makes me smile. Think about it. Did you ever see sad people sitting around a barbecue? Never.
Come in and ask for the winning Whopper and get it for just 99 cents for a limited time only at Burger King.
It's not about winning the most races. I tried that 2 years in a row. You just got to surround yourself with the best people, the best car, and Goodyear Eagles, the best tires.